Hello and welcome to the Hindustan Times newsroom. Today we are here to discuss one of the stories which have been done by Hindustan Times' data journalism team. Now, elections in India are about everything, but they are also about caste. A lot of permutations and combinations about which caste is voting for which party are always discussed before the elections. However, today we are here to discuss why caste trumps the politics of class, which is a rich versus poor divide in a country like India, where inequality and poverty continue to be extremely high. Now, we have done some analysis which we believe can help you understand this question. In India, there is a strong link between your class and caste origins. If you are born in an upper caste family, the probability, likelihood of you being rich is extremely high. As you go down the social ladder from OBCs to scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, the probability of you being born in a rich family goes down. Now, if you look at this chart, what this chart does is, because in addition to the population share of households by caste, NFHS also gives us households by wealth quintiles. It essentially means they divide India's households from poorest 20% to richest 20%. Now, what this chart shows you is, it shows us the relative share of each broad caste group in the richest and the poorest 20%. Now, if we look at the upper caste share here, so for example, upper castes have a relative share of 0.4 in the poorest 20%. It essentially means, if the share of upper caste in India's total population is 24%, their share in India's poorest 20% population is actually less than 10%. And as we can see from this chart, the upper castes have the highest relative share among the richest, which is the blue dots, and all other castes have relatively higher. OBCs are almost equally balanced in richest and poorest households, but the other castes have a higher relative share among India's poorest households. Now, this chart would suggest backward castes, OBCs, SCs and STs have a disproportionate proportion of poor people in this country. Now, the question which we need to ask is, in India, there are a lot of parties today which have a primarily other backward caste leadership. For example, the Rashtriya Janata Dal in Bihar, Samajwadi Party in Uttar Pradesh, and there are many other such parties. Now, if these parties, which claim to be championing the interests of other backward classes and other caste groups down the social ladder, why do they not champion a rich versus poor politics? So now let us have a look at this chart. Now, what this chart shows us is, it shows us the absolute share by caste groups, that is upper caste, OBCs, SCs and STs, among the richest 20% of India's households by different states. Now, what it shows is, and people might find it counterintuitive, that the share of OBCs, which is the blue part of the shaded bars, they actually have a much bigger share among India's richest 20% households than other castes, including upper castes. Now, this is essentially happening because, as we discussed, OBCs have the biggest share in India's population. NFHS says it is 45%. There are other estimates and assertions which say it could be even more. Now, if OBCs have a large share in India's population, and they also have a large enough share among top 20% households, this means that OBCs, even among the richest people, outnumber upper caste people and other caste groups. So essentially this means that a party which is catering to OBC interests has strong benefits to try and capture these richer OBC segments as well. And this basically means that they would be hesitant in sort of creating a polarization which could drive away a rich versus poor polarization, which could drive away richer segments of the OBCs. Now, this is not to say that all OBCs or SC, STs are rich. Now, if we can have the next chart and we look at it, if we look at this chart, which shows us the absolute share of different castes in poorest 20% of the population. For example, the last chart we saw Tamil Nadu and Bihar had the highest share of OBCs in the richest. Now we see that Bihar and Tamil Nadu are also among states which have the highest share of OBCs in India's poorest households. Now, this essentially means that within caste groups also there is a lot of economic diversity. And in states where OBCs have a greater share in population, for example, Tamil Nadu is a state where OBCs have a very big share in total population of the state, there are rich OBCs and there are poor OBCs as well. So a political party which sort of champions caste interests has interest to sort of cater to both these groups. And essentially the thing is, if a political party in today's day and age is contesting elections, now there are statistics which tell us that unless you have money, unless a party has money, it is extremely difficult to contest elections in India now. In 2014, Association for Democratic Reforms told us that 84% of India's Lok Sabha MPs who were elected were at least crorpatis. This number could probably go higher in these elections. Now, money is a very integral part of Indian election processes. So, what these numbers have essentially told us is that in a country like India, where there is a significant variation in caste-wise, broad caste-wise shares across states. For example, a state like Tamil Nadu has a very large share of OBC population. And within these caste groups, there are significant income inequalities, wealth inequalities. So even if a party is championing interests of a particular caste group, such as say the OBCs or the SCs, STs, it has its interest in making sure that richer segments within those caste groups are also attracted to the party, without which it might find it very difficult to contest elections, because money matters a lot in elections. And this is why probably we have a situation in India where no party, irrespective of caste group, would like to do a rich versus poor polarization when it comes to elections. Thank you.